Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Rescue Show. I am your pitch master general. I am joined today, as always, by the professional cynic, Jesse.
Hello, I'm here to talk about a movie that is not great, but I didn't despise it either.
We also have a returning guest, needs no introduction. Jeremy's here. Jeremy, thank you so much for jumping on the show with us.
No problem. This is Jeremy. Welcome to Jackass.
As always, I wanted to start doing this in the beginning of the seasons and just kind of go over the setup of the show. In Film Rescue, we take a movie. We respectfully try to review its positive elements that if we were producers, we would want to keep in a potential remake or reshoot or however hypothetically you're redoing this movie. It's all imagination. Then we go over some of our negatives that we'd like to cut out, and then usually our guest will pitch an alternative. Jeremy, are you the pitcher today? I didn't ask previous because we're just so loosey-goosey with you now.
We'll see how it goes because I have a feeling I'm going to have the most positive opinion about this movie.
Overall, I'm like 60% positive. Maybe 65. Maybe 65% overall. That's my spoiler review out the gate. I was telling Jesse last time we chatted about Chappie, I was like, every time I watch it, I walk away feeling different. And every time I learn something new about Neill Blomkamp, I walk away from his movies feeling different. And so it's kind of a weird place to be in.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're talking about Chappie. We're talking about Neill Blomkamp. Let's jump into it, gentlemen, with our positives, as always. Jeremy, why don't you start us off? What made us select Chappie? What are we really liking about it? What's grabbing us?
So Chappie, aka RoboCop 2014. That's kind of what
RoboCop thing later on in the movie.
Yeah.
RoboCop connection.
Oh, there's so much RoboCop.
Oh, so much.
And isn't he currently tapped to do the Amazon one, or is that still happening?
RoboCop Returns. He walked away from that.
Okay,
he walked away.
Probably for the
there's
best.
no. As far as I'm aware, the only other RoboCop we're gonna get with Peter Weller is the video game that's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, which I still don't. I have not been following any of that. I don't know how you make a good RoboCop game, but I'd love to see it.
Oh, it looks great. It looks good.
I keep hearing that, but I want to see when it actually comes out.
Yeah, it's first person shooter. Okay.
Yeah, the people that made it, they also did that Terminator Resistance game, which got like average.
That game was
reviews
okay
when it came out. It was good. The critics were like slamming it. I'm like, why?
It's a very average shooter, but like it really hits it on all of the like nostalgia.
It hits the nostalgia. Yeah, it's the nostalgia points. That's what makes it good. Yeah,
interesting.
So I mean, if they're doing it, I'd like to see. I'll give them a RoboCop shot.
Yeah. The only negative I have about it is that they don't use the sound effect for the gun.
That's a big problem.
That's immediately 1 point down.
Yeah, you need that big booming sound.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, you like that it's RoboCop-esque.
Yeah,
was that a fault against it?
No, honestly, RoboCop, one of my favorite movies of all time. So why would I be so upset if somebody's trying to ape it? But like it does it better than the remake did, and I actually don't hate the remake for RoboCop. It's like a totally okay average movie that's doing its own thing. But like Chappie to me is the slightly better version of that. And I'll just say Chappie, I think, is my favorite Neill Blomkamp movie. I know I don't want to say it's his best movie, but it's my favorite because District 9 is probably going to win out more people. But like when I look at the reviews for Chappie, I do kind of shrug my shoulders like, why does it get so much hate? And maybe I'm just an idiot who can't see past the flashiness of it. But I mean, watching it, I saw, this is only the second time I've seen it. The first time I saw it was like long after it came out. And I remember hearing everyone hating it, and then I watched it. I was like, I didn't think it was that bad. And then watching it again, I'm like, no, I have a good time with this movie. And like specific, so I have a soft spot for specific things in movies. Depiction of mental illness, the taking advantage of children, and like people with like Alzheimer's. Like that stuff gets me every time. It could be a dog shit movie, but you're showing me like some old guy with Alzheimer's and I'm choking back tears,
So how was The Visit for you by M. Night
I actually have not
Shyamalan?
seen The Visit, and we can talk about M. Night Shyamalan because actually me and Jesse were talking about this off air, but I think there's a lot of comparisons to draw between Neill Blomkamp and M. Night Shyamalan in my opinion, the sense that they accidentally made a good movie once and everybody's been waiting for them to repeat that success. I know M. Night Shyamalan has a lot of fans of some of his movies, but honestly, The Sixth Sense is the only one of his movies I ever gave a shit about.
Ooh, I
know he has his
Unbreakable
fans.
Is his best. I prefer Unbreakable to Sixth Sense. I've never really found Sixth Sense to be very engaging personally. It's not my thing. I don't know. It just didn't work for me. But
I haven't seen it since it came out. I would like to revisit that one.
Oh,
everyone always says, "Oh, it's the scariest movie ever made," and I watched it.
Scariest movie ever made is ever the scariest movie ever made.
The Sixth Sense is one of those that like you can see Mike Flanagan DNA before it evolved into Mike Flanagan. That like
character deconstruction with a horror premise.
Exactly.
But to your point, I rewatched Unbreakable like after Split came out, and I remember thinking like back in the day that I liked Unbreakable, and I remember a couple scenes specifically standing out to me. But when I revisited it, I just felt nothing. Like specifically the scene where his son has the gun on him. And I remember that being like super tense and stuff. And then I watched it again. I'm like, I just don't feel the tension here this time around. And I don't think it's because I knew what was going to happen. I think he's a very odd director. Like he reminds me of George Lucas. He's not good at directing people. Like the dialogue and the actors in his movies always just feel off.
Yeah, there's like a specific cadence that they're being directed to hit. They direct the actors to hit. It's like an old kind of like 80s style of cadence where it's like it's very particular. It's not naturalistic. We're really used to naturalistic dialogue now.
Yeah, and the way Unbreakable does just kind of like end. I was like, oh wait, that's it.
Yeah.
They gave you 2 more movies. What more could you want, Jim?
That's also the thing is that I think the reason is because Unbreakable is undone, forgive the pun, by Split and Glass.
And see, I don't hate Split.
I don't think it's undone by Split. I think Glass undoes both of them.
Yeah.
By killing off both main characters, and then it's like, oh, it's a big world now. It's like, no, we're never coming back to this shit.
No, and I hate that he got stuck in that place of like, oh, there has to be a twist. Like, no, there doesn't. Just make a regular movie. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, just make a regular movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Jesse,
anyways,
what about you? What are some aspects of Chappie that really work for you?
I mean, I agree with Jeremy that he's only ever done one good movie, and for me, it's District 9. And even though that film didn't age very well, it's got a lot of problems. Racism being one of them. I would say that Elysium is more egregiously racist.
Elysium was my first drive-in movie.
I wish I could drive through that movie. God. I rewatched Elysium this morning, and I was just like, God, it just made me annoyed. I was just like, God.
The best part of seeing Elysium was the fact that it was a double bill with Kick-Ass 2, and I saw the last 20 minutes of Kick-Ass 2 before Elysium.
Nice.
It's the only good parts of Kick-Ass 2, actually.
Pretty much.
It's the only good parts, yeah. The biggest issue I have with Blomkamp as a director is that he's not really a filmmaker. He's a special effects guy.
And the effects in this movie are still incredible.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing I would say is, like, if you look at his short films or even the stuff he did for Halo when he was tapped to do the Halo movie that eventually failed, there's a whole video on YouTube about it. It was going to be a 1-to-1 adaptation of the game with a few changes here and there.
Oh, so it would have been bad. I'm sorry.
Well, let's compare it to the fucking Paramount TV show that's awful.
Personally, I've never been a Halo fan. I just never got pulled into the lore and the gameplay. But I mean, I only like 2 Halo games. Yeah. So
the first one is a good standalone. It operates as just one standalone story. Yeah. But
there's not enough characters in the Halo universe, and I mean that in that all characters are stoic soldiers. There's no personalities.
Yeah.
Like, there's
except
one.
For
Johnson.
That's
there's one.
Because his voice actor was not capable of giving a boring performance. That's why.
It's just a play on Apone from Aliens. It's the same character. He even looks the same. He chomps a cigar. It's the same guy.
I love it. I love that trope.
But like he's a visual effects guy that got stuck into the director's chair. And
what is
that's
that
the main
Netflix
issue.
series that he's involved with? It's like Oats Studio or something.
Oh yeah, that was its own streaming thing.
Yeah,
for a minute,
those
and then
are
I
amazing.
think Netflix swooped in and took it.
The very first short on that is like incredible, and I can't remember if he directed it or he's tied to it somehow. If he's producer,
yeah.
But like that, his shorts are incredible.
Yeah, he did some really good short films that are really solid. They look great. Like a lot of the visual effects, like his studio that he worked with, they are really good at that stuff. And it's just unfortunate that the stories they try to wrap around it aren't as interesting. So,
and that's why I think Chappie kind of outweighs the other ones, because to me the story is pretty simple and it works for me.
It's egregiously simple is the problem, and I think the main reason why it's simple is because the film he did previous to this was Elysium, which cost $115 million. It did, I think it was like 280 some odd million at the box office. Yeah, 286 million in the box office. So it overall made profit, but he still wasn't happy with the movie. It got very mixed reviews compared to the first film, District 9, which I think got, 10 Oscar nominations or something like that?
Yeah, that got a lot of attention.
Yeah, a lot of attention, and rightfully so. I mean, it was birthed out of the failure of the Halo film. Like, the warthog shows up in the background. A lot of the props from the weapons, they show up in the background.
See, District 9's been kind of ruined for me after what I've learned about how he filmed it.
So I don't know about this.
He filmed literally in impoverished areas and just shot everything.
Not just that. Okay. He went into areas that had just been cleared out by the South African apartheid movements. Without any of the permission of the people that lived in those areas.
Yeah.
So he's like touting himself as this like storyteller that's like bringing attention to this stuff, and then was not giving any care or consideration to the people involved.
Yeah,
actual people. And then he represents them. He represents them as gross alien bugs in his movie. Like it.
Yeah, it's what's that movie that was on Netflix? Was it Bright?
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same thing. 1-to-1. Like the aliens are disgusting, horrible. Like human beings. That's what it is. And that's the same problem with Elysium. Is that Matt Damon, the only white guy in the whole area of Los Angeles. Los Angeles is portrayed as Mexico.
Yeah.
And there's no other white people anywhere except for that one guy. Yet he's the one that breaks into Elysium and takes on Sharlto Copley to take over Elysium. It's like the fight for immigrant rights comes down to the battle of two white dudes. It's like, eat shit, okay? Fucking, why was Diego Luna not the guy that was main character in that film? He's like Andor is literally in that movie and gets killed. by the white dude.
He's so fucking good.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, that brings us to Chappie, which cost $49 million.
That's
it.
Damn.
Cheap movie. Yeah, I think that's because he had to cast Die Antwoord in lead actor roles, and they didn't really like that.
Yeah, and I never heard of them until this. Like when I watched this movie, it was I worked with a guy who's like a big music guy, and he kind of gave me the rundown on them as we were watching it. And like
they're weird.
For being non-actors, they do a good job in the movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then you hear about how like they're just awful, terrible people. And it's a little conflicting.
I describe them as it's the Joker and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
It's just the Joker and Harley Quinn. I mean, I just apparently was it Ninja. He's a giant asshole. There's a whole article that Uproxx put out. I'll find it.
Oh my god, yeah, he's. This is not a great band.
No, and he has multiple sexual assault allegations.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. There you go. He was apparently a huge prick on set. He was being a douchebag to all the people around him.
And like for what? Like he's not giving us like an all-star fucking performance either.
No, he's not. Like it's fine, but it's not.
She's better, honestly.
Oh, she's.
But I think
better.
She's given more to do with like her character.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and her character is more directly relatable. Like I think Ninja's like entire character is just the bad demon.
Yeah.
On the shoulder,
is be an asshole. That's
right.
That's his character. Yeah. So. But yeah, like I saw it in theaters, and I walked out incredibly annoyed. I didn't like the casting. I thought that every character was unlikable. I thought that Hugh Jackman playing America the Person was incredibly irritating. I hated the score. I hated the music. I did not like
what, dude? It's so Terminator inspired.
Diane towards music.
Okay.
Which is weird.
The cramming in of them and their music is a little weird.
Yeah, they're playing characters in the movie, yet they also are playing themselves as characters in the movie.
No, because their like musical performance is that they are characters. Like the Yolandi and Ninja are not their actual.
Well,
names.
yeah, I know.
Those are their stage characters. So it's
but-
their.
Oh, he wasn't
stage
born
characters
ninja?
But I mean, like in terms of like who they are, like they have literal promotion for Diane Tward in the film.
Yeah.
Doesn't she wear one of their shirts at one point?
Yeah,
They're playing fictionalized versions of their stage characters as if they were people within a movie universe. Like we're
So
getting a look
weird.
at their real world because their real world is our movie world.
It's very
It's
strange.
so bizarre. I don't.
It tracks through their music videos. I'll give them that. Like they did have some synergy between like what they were doing and what they accomplished. It's just
Was he just a big fan, or like how did this happen?
yeah.
I
so
mean, that
they're
had to be.
huge in South Africa.
Well, yeah,
They're huge in South
I understand that much, and I assume it was all just kind of like, hey, shine more light on South African art or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of synergistically bring it all together. This is like kind of bad tourism for the area, but it is still tourism.
Well, that's another thing that a lot of his movies, like he says he's really proud of the nation of South Africa, and yet he always just shows it as a dump. It's like,
Yeah.
fucking come on, man. It's like watching The Wire where David Simon's like, I'm very proud of Baltimore. You only just showed the dumpy dog shit areas. Like there's a lot in Baltimore to be proud of, and you're just showing like wreckage.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. Yeah, like and I just don't understand like why he gets off on doing that.
It's very bizarre when Anderson Cooper is the most likable character in your movie.
So some of what works for Chappie for me, I really like this kind of what if Pinocchio could ask questions about his existence setup.
Yeah.
That's really interesting to me. Like the actual plot setup of what happened if we could make a robot sentient, what would its growth arc look like? How would it kind of develop as a person based on the people it was around? And then what if it could start asking questions of its maker of like, why did you put me in a broken body? Why did like he gets to
And
ask
Charlton
why
Copley
directly.
completely sells it. Like his performance, like just because I was reading, they didn't actually motion capture him; they just like CGI'd over him as they filmed him, which is impressive to begin with for how good it looks. But his voice performance, yes,
It's better than that Cats movie.
that is a very low bar to trip over.
Right.
But yeah, he completely sells it. Like to me, the character of Chappie is why I like this movie so much, and his progression. And like I said, it's like sort of the taking advantage of a child and like watching him reconcile with as he's learning who these people really are in his life. I think nails it on all fronts.
Absolutely.
The character himself is good. I just wish that it was in a better movie with a better story. Because I think the big issue I have with it is that it's a story about an AI coming to terms with its own sentience. Yet at the same time, there's this political story about weapons manufacturing.
Yeah, there's
These
no
two-
theme in this movie that I can really pick up.
There's not really a connective tissue between those two things. It doesn't feel like they really mesh very well. Like Hugh Jackman's meant to be just representative of America, the person. He's even got a mullet.
I literally
like,
laughed when he was like packing a gun in the office. And I'm like, I haven't seen any civilian just carrying a gun. And all of a sudden I've noticed this guy's in an office building strapped.
And then puts a gun right to a guy's head and doesn't
nobody
get
freaks
reprimanded
out.
for it. Nobody
Right.
freaks out. It's like he looks a lot like Solid Snake. And he like pilots a Metal Gear at the end of the movie. It's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
This you can really see that Blomkamp is a gamer. Like every one of his movies clearly has game influences. Like
Absolutely.
Elysium, like they literally they just made the Halo ring. They said fuck it. We
Yeah.
don't care anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that
you
also
got to
inspired.
go with what inspires you, right? If you can't get access to it directly, you go with what inspires you.
Yeah, and they also the plot for Elysium was ripped off into a video game called Vanquish, which kind of came and went. Unfortunately,
Vanquish was great
really good.
though.
Yeah,
It was
it's
good.
Vanquish is literally just Elysium done right.
Yeah.
But you can see like game influence in all of his stuff, like, with the exception of one, which is Demonic, which is just like this dog shit movie. I think was that one of your most hated of 2021, Seth?
I don't like. It's definitely still game inspired. I don't know what you're talking about. They literally go into like digital worlds with monsters in them. That is what you do when you enter a video. Like he's just
what is that? Isn't that just the Evil Within, which is just the horror Matrix?
Oh, that's
right.
It's
the horror
Fuck,
Matrix.
you're right. You're right. The horror Matrix.
I want to point out, I disagree that there's no theme in this movie, and I want to point out an arc across Neill Blomkamp's career.
I'd love to hear it.
Okay, Mr. Mommy issues. So we start with District 9. Oh, hey, guys, I figured out how to fix society. I see what the problems of society is. It's because the rich people treat the poor people bad. And if only we had a hero that could come in and write this, then it would be better.
Who would have thought?
And then we go to Elysium, and he goes, I'm going to tell the same story, but there's an eviler woman this time. And then we get to Chappie, and now he's finally figured out, okay, maybe it's me. I've got parent issues. So let's make a movie about my parent issues. My dad was an asshole that didn't care about me. My mom made me feel like the most special person in the whole entire world. And I'm kind of coming to terms with the fact that God put me into a body that I don't want. That Chappie is like,
wait, is this a trans
journey.
Allegory? Like, is he the Wachowskis? Like,
no, I think he's kind of expressing like his journey of coming to sentience himself. Like he kind of learned that, oh, maybe my dad doesn't treat me well, and that's not the right way. Maybe my mom made me too special, and I can't chase that all the time, and I can't go directly to my God and ask him, why did you make me, or anything like that. So I'm just going to make movies about this. The through line is parental issues in the whole thing. Just like, why am I made? Why am I here? That's the core theme of Chappie, because then you get to see that reflected in society. Why is society this way? Oh, all these parentless people. They even start to target in the montage between the dog scenes. They start to target people and attack their personality flaws that are just like projected onto them. Right? He calls one guy an alcoholic. He calls one woman a slut. He calls another person a thief. And so this is just like very directly, I'm just dealing with the world around me as a director. That's what Chappie is just like, here's my feelings poured out as a director.
It's just very shallow. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Like,
its biggest issue is that it's shallow.
The very first half of the movie.
I feel that way about a lot of Blomkamp stuff. It's pretty shallow.
Yeah. And like, as I called it before, the RoboCop remake that it honestly should have been, it starts down that path and starts doing it better than the actual remake we ended up getting, but then it like kind of just shifts halfway through, and then now it's going to start talking about existentialism and stuff like that, and it feels a little muddled. And then, like you said, there's like all this political stuff in there that just feels tossed in, and it's like I don't know which one of these things, like what are these robots supposed to be representing, one versus the other.
Well, I mean, the robot that Hugh Jackman built, what is it, the Moose?
Yeah, the Moose.
Or Ed 209 Volume 2.
Exactly.
Like, it literally, like he says, oh, it's for, it has, rocket launchers and missiles. And
it is literally the story of Dick Jones and RoboCop.
Yeah, but it's like, guys, we needed this for, like, police action. For,
right.
For,
and
like,
it's got
monitoring
cluster
the
bombs.
Streets. Like, what do you need that shit for? It's like, but that's like America's perception.
Yeah.
Like, didn't you say at one point, Seth, that every 1 in 6 police departments in America has an anti-mine vehicle? It's like, why?
They're all
we don't have
packing
any
APCs.
mines on the streets.
We've militarized our police, and that's like literally what they're commenting on. Is just
militarization.
These aren't
of the
cops
police
anymore. These are soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like, it feels like you could also dive into the whole, like, the way the robots are policing versus humans, and humans don't seem to do anything. And really the only scene that stands out to me is when Hugh Jackman's giving, like, his Moose demonstration or whatever, and they just could care less.
Yeah, they're just, I mean, that's one thing I wanted to bring up that kind of bothered me, is that the moment the robots get shut down, the whole city of
it's like everyone was just
K-Town,
waiting for it.
Just like everybody just erupts into just violence. Like, where's the actual cops?
It's kind of like The Purge. Like, are you telling me that everybody's just prone to murder as soon as they can get away with it? Like, that doesn't make sense.
I wouldn't indulge in murder. I would find every A-team I could, and I would just break the fucking thing and take all the money.
Yeah,
that is storytelling by B Unit, right? Hey guys, we need you to go out and get 5 establishing shots of the fact that the city's fallen into chaos. It's 5 shots. If you go back and look at his 5 shots
footage by chance.
No, that was them. Yeah, that was all set.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask,
the robots.
The creator also caught some flack for that, for using that explosion from that
in
warehouse.
The
Yeah,
it's
not in the
movie.
movie? Okay, I haven't seen the movie yet.
Guys, I got to do the PB Herman. That's our buzzword of the day. You said the creator, Jeremy. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, Seth saw it. I'm going to see it after we finish recording.
Honestly, so from the trailer, it looked like something that oh, this looks 100% up my alley. Did you like it? I'm just curious.
I'm glowing about it. I have not been to the movies to see a big budget blockbuster sci-fi.
It's not big budget though. It's $80 million. It's not big budget.
Yeah, okay. You're correct. Not big budget as compared to these bloated fucking monstrosities that we've seen. $80 million is still a pretty big budget. Like that's a pretty sizable budget. But like it is every dollar's on screen. Every shot is gorgeous. And it's beating out Chappie for like best on-screen visual effects. Like I can't see the CGI anymore. That's where I'm at this point. I can't see the CGI anymore.
Did you enjoy the story?
The plotting of the story is so tight and perfect.
Love it.
It rounds out it's got a huge giant set piece at the end that they have not spoiled in the trailers at all.
I heard some people complaining that the end wasn't like bombastic enough, but I feel like
I don't know how you go bigger than that. I genuinely don't know how you go bigger than
You're making me really excited to see it, because when I first saw that trailer, I was like, what is this? I am blown away. This looks like 100% up my alley. Kind of like how I hoped Elysium would be when I saw the trailer for that.
Yeah. This is the payoff to Elysium that you wanted. This awesome. Like if you were disappointed by it, the creator, it might be like, if not my number one, my number two. Like, God, it was okay. I'm glad you brought it up, because I've been thinking about it specifically in reference to this episode, because these are very visually similar films in that they're trying to present
AI. How it affects humanity.
Not only AI, but I mean like the visual presentation of, we need you to accept sci-fi unrealism as realism. I need you to accept that this Chappie robot is totally functional, and it needs to work here, in the same way the creator asked you to accept the robots in its movie, which are much more Star Wars inspired, which is kind of cool in my opinion.
I mean, that makes sense, because coming off of Rogue One and Greg Fraser, they worked together on Rogue One.
Absolutely.
It makes sense. It's the same team. So.
Yeah. So the core difference, the creator has a like genuinely heartfelt story around a special child's presence in the world, and Chappie is trying to convince you of that without giving you anything to latch onto for its specialness, other than like, this is the first sentience. But the movie itself doesn't really seem concerned with like talking about that sentience after that. Whereas the AI, the creator goes straight into, AI is as valuable as people, and America hates that fact.
Okay. Yeah, because Chappie, the real problem is it's kind of just trying to do too much. Yeah. And there's not enough focus in it. Like the bare bones story, if you just want to go in there and look at it and be like, hey, the robot, the heist, the AI stuff, like you can go in and have a good time. But if you're looking for something a little deeper, you just find yourself stumbling over multiple themes that don't necessarily work together.
And these are deep themes being delivered by not deep characters. Like I brought up the dog thing earlier, where Chappie sees a living dog early in the movie. And this is like his kind of like coming to terms with the beauty of the earth along with the suffering. And then later he sees a dead dog, right? And it's fucking Ninja that comes out and says, you're either this dog or you're that dog.
Yeah, life's hard, bro.
And like, that's a great
not really
theme. Could we explore it a little bit?
Yeah.
Could we have a little more conversation around that?
That's as far as it goes. It doesn't go any further than that.
And the same thing kind of happens with the fact that Chappie will die in a few days, and like that's an interesting thing to bring up. And then it becomes his like motivation at random points throughout the end of the movie, but it's not the driving force for the rest of the movie.
Well, the
it's
biggest
like a
comparison
clock, yeah.
Yeah, well, also the big comparison to make is Short Circuit 2. Everyone compares Chappie to Johnny Five from Short Circuit, who is a fucking annoying character. But
that's
yeah,
my
like
childhood you're talking about.
Oh, fuck that character. So they only ever made
Ray
two
Fisher
of them.
and Brownface in those movies.
Fisher Stevens.
Yeah, Fisher Stevens.
Ray Fisher is brown. What are you talking about? Wrong one, dude.
Wrong Fisher.
God damn. wrong Fisher. Fisher Stevens is he plays an Indian character. Just ignore it. But yeah, there's a moment in that movie where it's literally a diamond heist in that movie. It is a heist, and it's very exactly. It's the same plot. And the couple of guys, they track down Johnny Five and they beat the shit out of him and they break him into a bunch of pieces and they have to rebuild him. And he has like a limited lifespan because his battery is leaking acid.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's the same. It's the same premise. It's the same movie. Just this one's a little bit better because I'm not as annoyed by the character, but I still think this character is way too much like Jar Jar Binks at times, and it drove me fucking crazy.
Well, Johnny Five did have a sick mohawk that Chappie does not have.
That is true, and he did have a grappling gun. That was kind of cool. That's one thing I've noticed is that there's not really any like skills or any like tools that he has on his body that are in any way useful. Like, you think that a police robot would have like something
built in
useful.
Yeah, he's just metal.
But there's nothing. He's just metal.
It's harder to kill.
I compared this character to you ever seen Appleseed, the manga Appleseed?
I'm aware of it. I've read a little bit of the manga, but I haven't seen the movie.
There's a character named Briarios. It's a secondary character to Dunan, who's the main character. That's the design right here of the character. It's a little similar, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah. Just
skinnier. Yeah. That's the issue, is that it feels like it wants to be inspired by things like manga and anime, and there's a Metal Gear influence for sure, but it just feels like it never makes a point about anything.
Yeah.
Or even just like the scene where like the Pinocchio scene of like, I'm a real boy, where he puts on the helmet and it's like, is it can't compute consciousness, then it just does.
Yeah. That whole plot line feels a little forced in as well, and like the ending is like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, that's.
I guess we're gonna rebuild Yolandi. Okay.
Yeah, and I totally forgot. I remembered them both dying, Ninja and Yolandi, and I totally forgot how this movie ends.
Yeah, he survives and she dies.
Yeah, then I totally forgot they made her into a robot.
Yeah, they've backed up her brain. See, okay, that's one of the more technical aspects I have an issue with in the movie, because I'm fine with the idea that your personality is your experiences, and maybe we could download personality.
I'll buy it, sure.
Yeah, but the conscious portion, the sentient, like the thing that we don't quite understand is what it is that makes humans alive. They're trying to have us believe that could be downloaded. Sure, let's say I take that. Let's say
I'd buy that
agree.
for $1.
Yeah, let's say I agree we could download a conscience. It's in a world where the world's not set up in a way that's worth anything. Like, being a person isn't worth anything in the Chappie world, because there's this huge stretch between the elites and cops and the normal people. And so it's like the movie needs to resolve that like Ninja and Yolandi, they deserve to have a better life because they're people, and if Chappie's sentient, therefore he does too. But the movie doesn't point that out. So Chappie's just becoming sentient to become another cog in the machine.
Yeah, it's not even like, well, maybe you could say that like his maker, I can't remember the character's name, but was it Dev Patel, the actor? Dion. That you could there could be a theme there, like, you could be better than us, like, let your creativity fly and don't do what these people want you to do, but they don't really touch on that either. Like, it's not a theme that's explored.
But then literally the scene before that, he just says, don't let anybody tell you what to do. Now do what I tell you.
Yeah, right. And I did notice that as well.
He gives conflicting orders. It's like, yep. Also, he got over becoming a robot real fucking quick.
Yeah, right?
Just happy to be alive at that point, right?
I can't fuck no more.
Not yet.
Oh, they'll get there.
Yeah.
They'll so you're talking about consciousness being downloaded. A few episodes back, we talked about Battlestar Galactica, and I want to talk about the prequel to that, Caprica. In the opening of the prequel, there's a terrorist bombing on a train, and the main character is the guy that created the Cylons, and his daughter is killed on the train. And so he has an idea of, what if I'm able to somehow download her consciousness into a machine. Then there was a backed up version of her, and it kind of becomes like a ghost in the machine, and she becomes the first Cylon. And so the idea, I can't remember who it was. It was a physicist that came up with this, but it was the idea that if you could take down everything a person had ever consumed, like favorite book, favorite food, favorite TV shows, and like all these things, and compile it all into one place, you could essentially recreate the person. And that's essentially what he does, and it overall works, but it still gives rise to the Cylons.
Yeah.
So it's that thing of like, it doesn't understand what true consciousness actually is. Just because those pieces are there doesn't mean that you're actually going to get the person back.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Caprica did this way better. And by the way, I'm not encouraging people to watch Caprica. It's an awful show.
This is the most I've ever interacted with Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, it's an awful, boring-ass show. Do not watch it. There's a reason it only lasted one season.
Without spoiling anything from the creator, there is a scene in which one of the AI cops dies, and they put this machine on his head to get like a halo read of his personality.
Mm-hmm.
He's been dead so long that they only get 30 seconds, and so the guy comes back to life, fully conscious of the fact that he died, to be interrogated about the events of his death to help the mission, while coming to terms with the fact that he can just be resurrected after dying. And he's going, wait a second, you need to get a message to my wife. You might be able to save me, so like, please do that. And they're like, nope, we just need the information. We're gonna let you fucking die.
This is just that scene from Dungeons and Dragons.
So Chappie, like with the helmet and all that you guys are pointing out, they make it like this huge thing just to let characters allowed to live. The creator instead goes, no, that's horrific, and if it happened, it would be horrifying, and here's why.
Yeah,
and they didn't do it with a stack of PS4s.
Right.
Okay, that would never work. But anyway.
No, it would work. PS4s are supercomputers, and if you stacked them and chained them together, you can do that. People literally use PS4s in that way.
I've actually heard of stuff. Thing. I've heard of stuff being like, even back in the PS3 days, there were you could stack them together and just use the CPUs.
Yep.
Oh well, fuck. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, you got to keep that shit super cooled at least, because those things were fucking overheating.
Yeah. No, and those outside fans that would do absolutely nothing.
No, they don't do.
At least
shit.
pop those covers off. Come on.
Yeah, that reminds me of that scene they're talking about in the creator. There was a video game that kind of came and went way back when the original Xbox launched, called Brute Force. It was kind of like a Halo knockoff. You remember Brute Force?
I remember Brute Force.
Yeah. One thing that would happen is that when a character would be killed in combat, they'd have a chip. It's in the back of their head that records everything that they're doing. So if you die in combat, you can pick up the chip and you can recreate that person in the end of the mission. They get cloned. And there was a novel prequel that is okay. For a prequel book back in the 2000s, is not bad. But there's a point where the characters are killed at the end of the book to cover up a conspiracy, and they're resurrected to go on the first mission of the game. They have no recollection of what happened throughout the entirety of the book because their memories have been fucked over and wiped. So they don't know that they just died.
Welcome to the Bloodshot program.
They have no idea what the fuck just happened. Yeah, it's the Bloodshot program. They have no idea what happened. Yeah, it's
damn.
The fact that,
and again, that's RoboCop.
They don't. Yeah, it's RoboCop. Yeah. Well, also he was shot in the head in the movie.
Well, yeah.
So,
but yeah, like exploring the idea of like, oh, is he actually dead or is he just a computer replicant? Like, it's interesting stuff going on there that honestly, even the original movie could have done better. But that movie's so good in other ways, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But yeah. I think just one last thing. I wanted to point out the fact that the battle at the end with the Moose and Chappie is literally the battle between RoboCop and Kane in the end of RoboCop 2 in the boardroom.
Which is probably why I like it.
It's even the same gun he's carrying around with the explosive ammunition. It's the same fucking scene.
Yeah.
It's the same scene. I'm just waiting for Dan O'Hurley to say, "Behave yourselves!"
Well, big RoboCop 2 fan over here, so I'm fine with that.
I like it. It's messy, but I overall like it. The third one is where
third one was one of the first movies I saw in the theater.
Wow.
That I remember anyway.
I saw it in the theater too. I walked out, even with my dad. I was like, "Wow, that was not great."
I was a dumb kid. I was just excited for more RoboCop.
Did it have to look so cheap though?
They were going out of business at the time. I think that's why.
The Orion was in bankruptcy, and I think that movie had sat on the shelf for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I think that was one where it was like, oh, maybe this will save us, and it very much did not.
It very much did not.
So what do we keep? Like, if we're gonna, as we start to think about our pitch stuff for later on, what are we trying to keep here? I'm much more interested in a man was able to code consciousness or the seed for it, and the repercussions of that. I'm not as worried with like the political atmosphere of South Africa personally.
I would dump Ninja and Yolandi immediately.
Yeah, as much as I kind of enjoy, especially in that like carjacking scene, like the idea of them corrupting this child essentially. I enjoy that stuff in the movie, but like what I enjoy,
it works better as a short film.
Yeah, and what I enjoy more is the discussion about the AI and consciousness and how all that kind of ties together.
One of my big complaints for the movie overall, and this is something I've finally been able to contextualize my like third or fourth time watching it. Why is Chappie with Ninja and Yolandi? The movie is functionally trying to like explain to us that he's been kidnapped through force because Dion can't just take him. And
he just doesn't know any different. Like he was born in front of the three of them, and he's stuck with them, so they're the ones teaching him.
Right. So like the movie then, in my opinion, suffers from what feels like play invention. So whenever you're doing plays, you have to invent reasons to get people on and off the stage so that they can do stuff backstage, right?
Yeah. Exit stage left.
Yeah. Chappie has that thing where like Dion just appears on, like he just comes to stage to like play God and leave. And I get that's his function within the story is that he is God, but he is also still a major character working in the world. And so that's the part that I think we need to really figure out how to make functional in the movie is he a metaphor for Chappie's God, like Chappie's creator, or is he a character that we need to have agency within the story? Because if he needs agency, he can't be God. We're not like I don't want to write Shakespeare here. You know what I mean? I need him
one
to
idea and something that bothered me in the movie is the company he works for, and Sigourney Weaver in particular. They don't really tie into that part of the story at all. But what if they know about it and they're more involved in that part of the story? Like, they find out about Chappie and kind of want to go get him or something like that. Instead of like, they just like, no, you can't do your AI thing. And then they're exited from the movie until the very end when we need Hugh Jackman to go blow stuff up.
Yeah. Sigourney Weaver, I don't know why she's in this movie at all.
Mommy
really.
issues.
Like,
and she's also in the Oat Studio stuff. So the first Oat Studio thing, it was directed by Neill Blomkamp. I looked up, it's called Raka, and it's actually really fucking good. And again, because he does really good shorts, and it's broken up I think into 3 parts, and Sigourney Weaver is like one of the main characters in it, so she's worked with him multiple times.
Yeah,
that
she was supposed to work with him on that Alien thing they were going to do, so I'm sure they met a ton through that.
Blomkamp's canceled Alien 5. There's a book I picked up, and I showed this to Seth called Underexposed. It's a book about the 50 biggest film collapses in history. And I mean obviously there's more than 50, but it's like the ones that are most well documented. And Blomkamp's Alien 5 is one that's detailed quite a bit. It would have skipped over Alien 3 and 4, just going right from Aliens to Alien 5.
It's the Halloween thing. I think that was the one that started it, of like we're just going to ignore everything and start fresh.
Just call it Halloween again and just make the same movie.
Yeah.
It's like,
which at least that one was actually good. But I'll say I was one of the people who wasn't that thrilled when Blomkamp was announced to be doing an Alien movie.
I mean, it doesn't really feel like his thing, but it was probably like if I work with the studios, I can get some traction under my belt and, kind of do one for them, one for me, kind of like what his current movie Gran Turismo is. It's one for them, one for me.
I was excited for presentation solely. Like, I don't...
Which he would deliver on, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I especially the idea of like urban alien like that. We kind of got it in the AVP movies, but that wasn't execution. And I'm imagining like the kind.
I mean, you couldn't see the movie, so how could you tell?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's the darkest movie I've ever seen.
I'm imagining his like urban sprawl with green and tan, that kind of like bright color palette that he has with the dark, reflective, shiny alien set in it. I could see the images. I'm sure they probably drummed them up too. Like they probably have Oat Studios,
there's tons of production artwork that has found its way to the internet.
Yeah, the concept art is interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe if he wasn't necessarily writing it, I don't know if they had penned a writer for it or not, or if he was doing it.
Yeah.
Has he done all of his writing for his movies?
Except for Gran Turismo, I just looked.
Except for Gran
Turismo. That's the only one
Turismo.
He directed that he had no hand in writing. And some of them he wrote by himself. Chappie and I think District 9 he wrote with somebody. They're the same person.
Yeah. Terry Tatchell.
Yeah. So it's usually Neill Blomkamp or Neill Blomkamp and Terry Tatchell. And then Gran Turismo is the only one that was not written by him at all.
Yeah.
And like visually as a director, he's got a good style. Like Chappie looks great, District 9 looks great, Elysium looks decent. It's really the stories and honestly the pacing of these are not super great.
Yeah. Like I said, he's better in short film. He's not good when he works with narrative structure.
He's also better in subtitle. Oh my god, you can follow his stuff a lot better when you watch a movie.
Luckily I watch everything with subtitles nowadays.
Yeah, that thick South African accent really is kind of tough.
Not only did I not know that Hippo was the name of the gangster that was after Ninja until this watch, I didn't even know he had a name in the movie until this watch.
The fact that they the studio probably said, "Hey, could you please put subtitles over him? We can't understand what the fuck he's saying."
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. Did he have built-in subtitles when he talked?
Yeah.
Okay. I was watching the whole movie in subtitles, so I honestly just kind of over me.
So I had a subtitle, and then it was the actual subtitles underneath, and it kind of got confusing.
Yeah.
I mentioned to Seth, I had a thought about this. Why is it that these three movies, like District 9, Elysium, and Chappie, why are they not all the same universe?
It's a good point.
Like, it would make sense.
Like District 9 and
like,
Elysium could easily take place in the same universe.
Yeah, like they could just say like, oh, it's the other side of the world. We've had this alien invasion. We're trying to get into space to get away from the possible impending aliens' returns. Like, you can make it add up. And then the police force shows up in order to try to police a District 10. Like, there's been talk of doing a District 10 at some point. I don't think that's going to happen.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I really doubt it.
I feel like I don't feel like Neill Blomkamp really has the pull that he wants to have in Hollywood.
Not anymore. Not after the failure of Demonic. Not after Chappie didn't get the best reviews, and not after Gran Turismo being like, it's okay. But
Chappie did okay. 102 million on a 49 million budget. Like, you could do a lot worse.
I think we are extra nice to his first film because every poster had ridiculously good marketing behind it. The idea of not showing the aliens, but showing what the in-universe drawings are of them. Flawless execution. And then they put Peter motherfucking Jackson's name on every poster.
What's
they did really push that.
He had just done Lord of the Rings, and they've worked together a bunch previous, so I think District 9 is a big, runoff from Lord of the Rings win and not its own win, and that's why we don't see this, Neill Blomkamp taking over big budget, sci-fi Hollywood.
Here's a question. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Because in my head, I always had this order reversed. Do you think Chappie would have done better if it was his second movie instead of his third?
Yes.
If Chappie had been his first movie, I think he would be a household name at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Because, I mean, easy to agree that when it comes to his three big sci-fi movies, Elysium is definitely the worst.
I'd agree with that.
I think it's the weakest for character overall, and I think that hurts it more than anything. Its sequences are tight. I think it's the best looking, genuinely, of his movies.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it since the drive-in. So.
I watched it this morning, and like I said, it does feel like runoff from the failed Halo movie. Like when they're battling in the armory, when they get onto Elysium, it just looks like the Pillar of Autumn.
Yeah.
It just looks like the fucking interior of the Pillar of Autumn. It's just runoff.
I remember comparing it to how I feel about like the Rise of Skywalker. Of hey, there are sequences in this movie that are great, but when you're tying it all together, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
None of it adds up. None of it makes sense. Like they get from Earth to Elysium within the span of 2 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
and
that's not how escape velocity works, guys.
And what's his name? Matt Damon's character like is completely selfish the entire movie until like the last 30 seconds. I'm like, why? Like, I don't buy his reason for making the sacrifice.
Yeah, that's a kind of an odd trope, I think, for this genre. Creator decides to go like just abjectly and say, oh, this guy works for the Americans and the Americans are evil. So that he's working for the bad guys from the get. I think specifically Blomkamp likes to have the stoic hero that has to be like shifted a little, and that counts as character development. Because like even Dion is like playing God until the end of this movie, right? When then he becomes his creation, which is a odd metaphor to run with, right?
But then it never talks about it at all. He's not even there in the last scene.
He's technically robot Jesus at that point, right?
He's very much robot Jesus. Super mega.
Is that better
Jesus.
than zombie Jesus?
I mean, he's zombie robot Jesus if we're getting real technical, because he fucking dies.
Now we got zombie robots. That's a whole genre unto itself.
So
right.
Here's a thought. Does it literally transfer your consciousness one to one, or is it copying it?
See, they don't care to investigate, and like
because how awesome would it be if like you copied your consciousness and put it into a robot, and then there was a robot you and there's the actual you? How fucked up would that be?
So in the
there's something to talk about. Like, why not try that?
With Dion, he's transferred right then and there, so his most recent memories are transferred. Versus Yolanda, her memory was created a while back when Chappie was still figuring out the stuff. So she's gonna have a huge gap in memory that she won't have.
Right.
It's just like C-3PO in Rise of Skywalker. What? What are you talking about? Master Skywalker's not here.
Honestly, the best part of that movie, which is a weird thing to say.
Well, no, it gave us Babu Frick. That is 100% the best part of the movie.
Yeah, and seeing him come back in Mandalorian was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fan favorite.
Despite the fact that it's also abjectly racist, but I'll ignore it.
Is it?
It's the Asian the Asian squinty eye, like big mustache,
he does kind of have a Fu Manchu, doesn't he?
It's racist.
Why you gotta make me hate Babu Frick?
I mean,
hey, I didn't make the fucking shit. I'm just pointing it out.
Listen, J.J. Abrams doesn't think about what he does. We just know that, right?
No.
We know that.
Nobody was thinking about anything on that movie.
Right.
They fly now.
So yeah. So the leading theory of consciousness right now is that consciousness is a non-local field. It's like gravity, it's like time, it's this unobservable thing. You exist outside of time. Like the thing that operates your decision making in your brain. That exists outside of time.
The collective unconscious.
Yeah.
The collective unconscious.
That exists outside of time. And so technically, if you could make a robot with a computer brain capable enough to process human thought like the meat brains that we have, and you could dial it in to that specific person's frequency, digital immortality. I'm here. Like I don't know if you guys looked at the Wikipedia. It's the longest hyperlink I've ever seen in Wikipedia. Transfers the dying Dion's consciousness into a spare robot.
And I was like, wait, this is a link?
If you click on that, it takes you to digital immortality. And it's like, if your Wikipedia page has to explain the lore of your sci-fi movie and your sci-fi movie couldn't tell me about it, I don't care.
There it is. Look, there it is in fiction. It's in fiction under that particular link. In the TV series Caprica, a digital copy of a person is created and outlives its real counterpart after the person dies on the terrorist attack. That's literally what I was just talking about. Yeah.
So
yeah, there was also a book series. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a story. I can't remember what it was. It was
Transcendence is another one listed here, which I keep feeling like we're bumping up against that territory.
I don't want to talk about that boring piece of crap. God.
Altered Carbon, though, that's actually a good version of this.
That
I
was
would say.
okay.
The first season
Yeah, it's
anyway.
okay.
I didn't watch the second season.
Yeah, it's more of the same. But yeah, there's a book series. It's about space travel, and one of the things people do is because they can't physically survive the journey through space time, is that they'll digitally download their consciousness and put it into a computer so it can last longer, so that they can then cryogenically freeze their bodies, and then when they get out of hyperspace, then they can thaw them and re-upload their memories and such. But the problem is, it costs a lot more to download all of your memories. So if you can't pay for everything when you get out, you're gonna have gaps. You'll
And that's similar to Altered Carbon.
Yeah,
that's more about a
what is
body.
that called? What is it called? Defragmentation in a computer system?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or fragmentation in a computer system. That's especially what happens. That people lose track of like time. They lose track of what's happened in their childhood. It's interesting. Yeah,
That's
it's a
so
wild
scary.
series. Yeah, it's terrifying.
So
I can't remember what
feel
the name
like
of that book series was.
I feel like we're all kind of in agreement that the whole AI aspect of the movies, the way to go.
I think the AI aspect, the ability to communicate with your creator directly, this is some of the stuff that like Ridley Scott's attempting in his Alien stuff. That they're asking very similar questions in that way. I'd like to keep that kind of stuff. Maybe it's the heist I want to drop. Maybe it's the crime.
Yeah, I would get rid of the heist.
Yeah.
I don't need the whole crime storyline feels extraneous to the actual themes of the story.
It also reminds me of Spring Breakers a lot.
Oh God!
Right? Like Selena Gomez's
right.
character has the same arc almost as
You're
Chappie.
right.
Except she
You're
wasn't
right.
throwing ninja stars.
That we know of.
That's true.
Go sleepy weepy.
Yeah, Charlton Copley like totally steals this movie for me.
He steals every movie he's in.
Oh.
I've yet to see him like even in like Old Boy, he's like really trying.
Free Fire is one of my
Oh.
favorite of his, just because he's so
Yeah, I
ridiculous.
love Free Fire.
Just
I love Free Fire.
him saying protection from infection is something that's always in my head.
Yeah, I definitely would keep him around. I'd love to find a way to keep Hugh Jackman around.
I
But
actually
guess we-
don't mind him in this movie. I heard a lot of complaints about him when he came out, and like I understand like kind of what Jesse was saying about he is America the villain, but like
Dude,
it was nice to
the
see
little
him play out of
character bit-
role.
yeah, it's fun to see him be a bad guy. The little bit where he like is Catholic.
Oh yeah,
Dude.
Yeah, he's very religious.
I was like, all right, I know who this is. I've met this guy before. I've worked
Yeah.
in an office with this guy.
yeah.
But yeah, like I don't hate the idea of like him being the Dick Jones stand-in of like, hey, what about my thing over here? Even though it's designed for warfare, not urban pacification.
Is that the story? Maybe that's some of the dissonance we feel because it seems like the story of Chappie is about coming to terms with these robots, but then the opening expects us to believe everyone that lives here is already come to terms with these robots. So the real thing to come to terms with is what if they became sentient?
Or what if a robot developed empathy for actual human beings, whereas the thing that Hugh Jackman has created has zero empathy because it's piloted by people that just don't fucking
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what if this is the story of a cop learning empathy? Like,
a cop learning to not be a pig.
yeah, and going like, oh wow, like he could. What if the first time Chappie gets on the internet, once he's come to sentience, and he looks at like the statistics of cops in our world and goes, oh, these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like
Google the term 40% cops. Google that if you want some enlightenment.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what,
So he
what
just
if
doesn't
but
become
then if he gets
Ultron.
I was about to say he's going to become Ultron.
Yeah.
what if that's the story though? What if what if not
Chappie's
Ultron?
the bad guy.
What if he becomes the Punisher? What if his whole thing is like, oh, well, my job is to be a good cop, and so I'm going to go fix policing.
No, wait, I got it. Chappie gets on the internet because he has human consciousness and empathy, looks on the internet and sees all the really good stuff. Somehow the moose gets dumped into the internet and sees just the bad stuff.
Just put it straight on Reddit.
No, put it on 4chan, put it all in that bullshit like and it just
QAnon
becomes,
moose.
like, it's just, yeah, QAnon moose. Can we change the name to something that's not moose? It just sounds stupid.
Yeah, it is really dumb.
I mean, because Metal Gear is already taken, so we can't call it that. I don't know.
I feel like you got to go with what the people would call this, right? Imagine there's a giant chicken walker walking around your town,
He's
and
got
that's
chicken
the
legs.
police. You know,
Chicken wing. I mean, they didn't in Metal Gear Solid 4. Didn't the ones that were walking around in Iraq, weren't they called geckos? Isn't that what they were called?
Yeah,
geckos. They have like biomechanical legs.
well, also this thing
With, like,
flies. Why is it called the Moose?
That's a good point. I totally forgot it was like jet-packed.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
not an issue with the execution here.
No.
I feel you could have called it like the Stork or the Osprey or like
Albatross.
Oh, the
Albatross.
albatross. Yeah,
big,
I love
big,
that.
big thing. Yes, the
It's
albatross.
a big bird. Maybe that's it. Maybe he calls it the albatross, and people are making fun of it initially.
And then it sprouts like fucking wings, and it's like, oh, see, this is also another thing we added in last minute.
It's just to make it look cool.
It's a walking fighter jet, essentially.
Yeah.
For urban pacification.
Right.
And then the theme song to Team America starts playing as it flies through the air.
Yeah.
It actually ejects a megaphone just to blare it out.
Okay, that would be a great little addition for Hugh Jackman if he strapped a boombox to it that's just playing Trapped or something like that.
It's got to be.
Or they have literally Kane in RoboCop 2. It has a little projection screen that comes out with his face on it.
Oh yeah.
So you can that.
That would kill me. I'm sorry. That would kill me.
So one thing you can point out is the scene where Hugh Jackman is piloting the Moose is he's behaving like a wild animal with complete disregard, and you could parallel that with Chappie.
Oh,
yeah.
True.
This robot has more sentience and sympathy than this human man who's supposed to be trying to. His whole thing is this thing is supposed to be better because a human is piloting it. And even the RoboCop remake does that, where there's the whole discussion of they want him to have a human hand, so they have the perception of a human is pulling the trigger.
That's true.
Like I said, this just
same time,
change the title to RoboCop, and it's already a better movie.
RoboCop Returns.
Yeah, he already made RoboCop, so that's probably why he backed out.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Best we're gonna get to that video game.
Does he need to be a police robot too? That's that is the aspect of the actual plot that links Hugh Jackman and Sigourney Weaver and the company in is the fact that that he is a police robot. I'm not sure if that's entirely necessary. That is a hugely political element, and I'm anti-cop enough to be he could just be a household robot or a construction you know what I mean? And didn't Hugh Jackman do another robot movie right around this time that's a lot more
it was Real Steel.
Oh, Real Steel, the boxing one.
Yeah.
I mean, this is also starting to sound like iRobot.
Yeah, it's very much like iRobot. It's God, what was it? It was what did I just see that had the 3 laws of robotics in it? What the hell was it? Oh, it was that it's that game we've been playing, Lies of P.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
It's baby's first Dark Souls. There's a point where it's based on Pinocchio, based in the biggest fucking air quotes.
Yeah.
Inspired
on
by
Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Inspired by.
Chappie's inspired by Pinocchio. It's apt.
Yeah, but the premise is that basically Geppetto built a whole city full of puppets. They go apeshit crazy. It's basically just BioShock, and the whole town's been taken over, and so all these puppets are taking over. And
BioShock is my favorite Pinocchio.
Yeah, I believe that. But there's somebody that says the 3 laws of robotics, but then just changes the word robot to puppet.
Mm.
And it's I get it.
I see what you're doing there.
I see you. Yeah. But that's the thing. If you're going to create these robots like this, you have to also apply the Asimov 3 laws of robotics to it, and they never really do.
No, that's never touched on.
They kind of disregard that right away.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we're not seeing any other robots, right? What we're seeing is a person in a robot body. That's functionally what Chappie is throughout the story. He's a person in a robot body, so he's not bound by those laws. Like he is on a personal level, like accepts those laws as something, but he's like capable of being tricked into hurting people, right? Because he's a person. An actual robot couldn't even follow through on the motion or effect. I'm assuming.
But that also brings up the issue of like, well, if cops really don't listen to their own regulations of not using excessive force, why would you want a police force that is bound by that mechanically?
I mean, it would be more humane.
Yeah.
Compared to the system we have now. No, well, exactly. Like, we have to decide what...
They wouldn't want that.
we have to decide if, in our story, that is what they would want, you know?
That's why I think having him be a police robot really doesn't make sense. I agree, Seth.
Yeah. Like, imagine that happen.
He should just be he should be like a construction bot, you know, some piece of junk that he found in a dump somewhere, and he just that's why he's like, why did you put me in a broken body? It's like, well, it's all I had.
Yeah,
it's all I had. It's like, you know, clearly there were other machines, there were other robots in that factory that he could have taken.
Have you guys ever...
But he took the broken one?
Well, he takes the broken one because it's written off already.
Yeah,
because it was damaged.
Out of the system and rejected.
That was the whole thing.
That's true.
I do struggle with if he's not a police bot, like what's pushing the story.
Well,
like,
and I think we need to pick what kind of story we're keeping from it. Like, are we keeping this Pinocchio thing? Are we doing a different kind of story? Because I...
Well, you guys have seen AI, right? Steven Spielberg's
I
AI.
actually have never seen that.
Whoa!
I know it's a
good.
huge glaring, because you know, I think when it came out, you know, I wasn't as into film as I was now, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's not very good." But I'm sure if I watch it now, I'd probably be like, "What are you talking about?" I just have never gotten around to it.
It's aged pretty well. It's definitely very sappy. It is a Spielberg movie.
Yeah, it's 98% Spielberg film, 2% like YouTube video about what the future will be like.
Yeah. Through the kind of sort of writing of Kubrick a little bit.
Yeah.
In that there's a sequence where they're at a fair and they're just torturing robots because they enjoy it. Like they just hate the idea of AI. They think it's just an abomination. So they just completely wipe out these robots. And then doesn't the end of the movie they flash forward, was it like 4,000 years?
Yeah, and it's like
the
robots have like evolved or something.
Yeah, they look like aliens. Everyone thought, oh, these aliens? Like, no, they're machines.
I remember people being confused about that. It's like, oh, this is suddenly aliens? It's like, no, that's the evolution of the robots.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the robots evolved. Yeah, so it's something like that. Yeah, if you want to do this story about consciousness and AI, maybe do something like that.
What if it's not a happy story?
I'd be into that.
I'd be fine with that.
Because honestly, like one of the things that does bug me a little bit about the movie is like it kind of wraps up a little too nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my pitch for Dark Chappie. Have you guys seen Full Metal Alchemist?
No.
Okay. I have a friend who's like obsessed with it.
Oh God, are you gonna do the dog thing?
No. God.
I was about to. Okay.
But now you have to explain the dog thing, Jesse.
Isn't it like somebody's dad his consciousness is trapped inside the dog?
No,
and the dog.
It's worse than that. A dad traps his daughter's consciousness in a dog-human chimera hybrid.
All right.
And then doesn't that die? And then no one knows that that's actually who it was?
No, the serial killer that the main characters are chasing kills it out of mercy.
This is why it's so hard to tell people you like anime.
No, and that's like episode 3 as well. I want you guys to know that's like
geez.
early on in the anime. Okay,
I was like, this sounds like a season 2 thing.
No,
Jesus Christ, man.
So this is what I want to pull out of Full Metal Alchemist. People who know it already know what I'm grabbing for. This is what's wrong with Chappie. They dump sentience straight away into a fully adult body, and then it still has to go through childhood development, and that slows the middle of the movie down. That, my opinion, I think that's functionally what happened. In Full Metal Alchemist, there's an alchemist that creates a homunculus, which is essentially like a little void sentience that he keeps in a jar. And because it can't do anything but think, it thinks. And it thinks a lot, and it learns from its thinking, and it kind of evolves into what we would describe as like super intelligence, right? And its plan now is, well, I need a fucking body. Like, I can't do anything in this world if I'm a brain in a jar. And so I need to get out. And so it convinces this alchemist's apprentice that it'll give it forbidden knowledge in exchange for it helping him. And it uses this forbidden knowledge to, in the world of Full Metal Alchemist, alchemy is like magic, essentially. So they use alchemy to genocide an entire country so that they can use the like purified souls as the source for immortality for a body for this sentience that's in a jar. What if Dion and his invention of Chappie turns into this like the dark id of humanity, and so it starts off like helping him out, giving him like crazy inside knowledge that its super intelligence is processing, but it's slowly like convincing him to put it in a body, and then once it's in a body, we get RoboCop horror.
Hey, you guys ever seen the movie Upgrade? That's a really good movie.
Yeah. So that, but like just upgrade straight into its killer body.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay, cool. But also, what you described when you were starting out with that, I was like, that's literally Derek from The Good Place. Hi, I'm Derek.
Basically.
You have my attention.
I have been reset over 8 million times. I'm Derek.
He's just a fucking disembodied head at the very end of the show.
And that's because from the point where they cast him in the show, Jason Mantzoukas wasn't super popular, and then by the end of the show, his popularity had shot off, so he couldn't come into the studio. So they just did like a CGI head recording to drop him in.
Good for him.
I love it. All right, so what do you guys think?
Hi, I'm Derek.
Dark Chappie. Is that a story you'd like to play around with, or do we want to do good Chappie?
I'm okay with both.
Yeah.
I think both work.
Because, as I said before, the character of Chappie is what I like the most about the movie. But I definitely can see twisting that into something else would, like, in an ex machina sense, really grabs my attention.
Yeah. Well, because then you don't need I would argue you don't even need the moose at all in the story. If, like, he is functionally main character for the first half and then shifts into villain in the back half, that could be a really interesting story to tell overall. I don't know.
Yeah. Or he could do it like, what's the movie? Her. In the film Her, with the
Joaquin Phoenix,
the AI, Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson, the AI companion that is created. Where what if Dion was the actual main character and the AI creature was the secondary character?
Yeah,
like it's called Chappie, but it's not really about him.
Right. Yeah, it's Dion. Like, it's now the story of Dion coming to terms with like playing with fire. He's Prometheus, right? His punishment from the gods is he played with fire, and now he's got Chappie out in the wild because he gave it a body.
I don't know why this just popped into my head, and maybe this can just be completely ignored. But what if it's like the movie Christine, where he starts with good intentions, but Chappie corrupts him?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it's how that's how manipulation happens. You get them on your side, and you twist them to do what you want.
Like that would be.
I can see
that would be really dark, Chappie.
That would be,
Like you see Chappie kind of slowly just watching the world and taking it in and playing along with Dion until he can like convince him or twist him to his own ways. And then Hugh Jackman becomes the hero of the movie.
Yeah. I don't know why this just popped into my brain. You guys seen the film Tetsuo the Iron Man?
No. Yeah. The drill dick? Yeah.
Yeah, where he becomes more and more like a machine till the end of it. What if Chappie and Dion merged?
Oh, I'd be into that.
Ooh.
Get into like Cronenberg body horror shit at the end of the movie.
Damn.
And that's the thing that Hugh Jackman has to stop. Hugh Jackman becomes de facto hero because Dion and Chappie have become so repulsive and evil by the end of the film.
I kind of love that.
Yeah,
I'm into that idea.
Fucked up and weird.
I love turning
Yeah.
it into just a body horror film.
Oh,
Yeah.
if this was like a secret kind of Tetsuo Akira style like body horror where the robots have figured out how to control our like biological components. So you have like the brain of a human stuck into the back of like a Chappie processing chassis now, and like the helmet strapped in, and then there's like maybe like artificial face stuff that they put on because they're recognizing that being able to emote is a certain aspect of this. So they steal someone's face to put onto Chappie, and the person they steal it from is like Sharpia Copley's like human counterpart in that world.
Nice.
And so you got like two evil fucks at the end. And then so what if we switch Hugh Jackman to like, what if he's got to put himself into the moose to stop it? Like he's actually sacrificing himself. He can't come back
I
to
would
being a
much
human.
rather him be physically piloting it.
Yeah, he physically has to pilot it by like teaching it how to perform brain surgery and then killing himself, pulling his brain out and putting it into the robot.
I'm
I'd
into
be
that.
into that. Yeah.
That's fucky, dude.
And then progressively getting more and more like machines and people like joining together into this mass.
Okay, we do need the political element then, because he goes out into the crowd and starts like pulling their tech and their people into the mass.
Yeah, what's that? What was that sequence in Slither? The giant mass of all the townspeople at the very end that have been controlled by Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
Or in Evil Dead Rise, the way that one kind of wraps up.
Yeah.
Dude, what a great finale to that fucking movie. I
movie's
never would
so
have called
fucking
that in
good.
1,000 years.
No.
Okay,
I still need to watch it.
if
It's
we're doing
great.
Dark Chappie,
Sorry for if I spoiled that.
if we're
It's okay.
if we're doing Dark Chappie, I'm so in love with this. A secret body horror movie, that sounds so fun.
Yeah. Who knew Chappie was actually a horror film?
And that's shit Neil Blomkamp could do well too.
Yeah.
And
Better
I would
than this
recommend
movie.
go check out that
Yeah.
Raqqa short. Like
Yeah.
it feels like a horror because it's like an alien invasion story, but it's like, oh, the aliens have already won, and it's kind of like about the resistance, and it's
Like
it
Empire of
feels
the
a little
Sun.
horror. Yeah, it feels a little horror inspired, and like the design work there is really good. I could see him pulling that off really well.
Damn, interesting. Body horror, Dark Chappie. That's a great pitch. I'm ready to pinch that turd off and see if we can do a good version too, though.
A happy version.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least like maybe a social satire version, at least. You know, like the movie is trying to say something about society. We should maybe err towards that at least.
And I feel like if you are doing the good version, I think most of that is already present in the movie if you just eliminate the crime element of it.
Yeah,
those characters.
By taking all that out. Yeah, by taking all that crime element out, you can put in the stuff that actually enhances the themes that are already there.
Yeah,
and,
like what if she lets him do the AI upgrade, and like then they see what happens, and then it all revolves
and
around.
the company uses that to its advantage.
Yeah,
and like, oh, look at the thing that we created. No, he created it.
Yeah,
it's
but
like
then
you just gave him permission.
and then Chappie sees the corruption himself.
What if
a corporation taking advantage of AI for its
And
own
an AI
personal
that's
ends.
like a child.
What if that's how it's learning? What if it's learning evil through corporations instead of through people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you could have the blunt statement of, but corporations are people, Chappie.
Oh, I like that. That's kind of
Yeah.
I mean, it's on the fucking nose, but it's also the law in America. So
I mean, everything in Blomkamp's movies is on the nose.
that just tracks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. What if the so he's basically learning from within. So he's like that's why we like him at first. He's got the like that kind of Stranger Things 11 feel where like he's kind of stuck in a bad situation. So you almost don't blame him if he goes off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like oh, you get it. Like I understand.
Yeah. Interesting. We keep going back to dark.
Yeah, but it's like dark for good reasons. Kind of like when he goes and beats up Hugh Jackman. Like, yeah, he's assaulting a guy, but it's, he deserves it.
Yeah, he also cut off his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he actually die? I can't remember.
No,
if
I
he
think he's
died
just
or
all
not.
fucked up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He should have gotten like shot by the moose or something like that and blown up.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of human explosions in Elysium. I think he pulled back from that.
I was totally thrown off when the gangster guy gets ripped in half and thrown against the wall. I'd forgot
that was intense.
I did not think it was gonna, and that's what I was saying. Like Hugh Jackman's like a wild animal in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, he's just unleashed. He's like an evil gamer.
He's a COD player. That's what he is.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Maybe the movie should start off with the idea that this program is working. Like it is peaceful. These robots are better than our police. Like make that an objective statement, because then the movie is about how do these like frameworks, these organizations, how do they turn corrupt, right? It's that story of like, well, what is the through line that would make these robots then a corrupt police force? And it comes from the inside of Chappie, like learning all this information about how humans are in this setting, and then just sending that out as orders to the robots. They start to militarize. They start picking up the guns of the criminals that they're taking down, and now you're starting to see this like more militant Chappie on the streets. And that's not the Chappie we're getting to know in the building, right? Like this one's a kid.
Yeah.
This one's actually sentient. It's learning, about the consequences of these actions. And you could even show that out in the police forces as Chappie learns empathy, the robot cops then have to come to terms with the crimes that they're in the process of committing.
That's kind of what you're kind of leaning into what that RoboCop remake was trying to get.
Yeah,
to.
like
we have to create a police officer that the populace will love. It's like, they failed,
right?
Yeah, but that's kind of what you're getting,
right?
At.
And because the movie, in a good version, the movie would end on shutting down the Chappie system to turn them into people to help the communities, right? Like crime reduces when you help communities. Investing money into helping communities reduces crime much better than policing does. And if that's where you end your movie with this idea of like Chappie learns that ultimate lesson, sends that message out to all the Chappie cops that are turning evil, and goes empathy.
Yeah.
Hey, put down the guns, help these people. Feed people that can't feed themselves, clothe people that can't clothe themselves, house people that can't house. We are super strong robots. We could build a house in a day. Like if it starts to become that, then the movie ends on this idea of like, oh, the idea isn't just get robot cops. It's we need to end copping at all and use this money directly to help the communities of these people.
You also ended up fixing the ending of Elysium, because that's literally the very ending of Elysium.
That's kind of the theme that I think Blomkamp's going for overall.
He just keeps making the same movie over and over.
He just keeps...
Yeah,
I think he whiffs the idea that your sci-fi should end on the premise that your thesis was correct, right? Like, the point of sci-fi is to teach a lesson about ourselves and how we could learn in the future. But you have to land on your thesis being correct, because the movie ends up with maybe we've created digital immortality and now we have to run from the cops forever. What?
Yeah, it doesn't. There's no change in the world.
Yeah. And
for all the effort they said that Chappie's going to be a big thing, it doesn't amount.
They're asking you to imagine it, but like, show me what you're imagining. Like, this is a movie. We're using our imagination.
It's your movie.
Yeah.
You do
You're
it.
the storyteller.
Yeah, I imagine a world where the Chappie robots are deactivated cops that are walking around the city, immortal, right? Like they're not going to die. They get to recharge, and so this is a program that doesn't cost any money after 5 years. It pays for itself.
Yeah. There you go.
That's a good ending. So, all right,
that's the happy one.
Do you want fucked up humanity combines with technology for a nightmare scenario, or do you want, hey, we got rid of the cops and things are good now?
Honestly, I think I have more fun with Dark Chappie.
Yeah. No.
Either way, we get to kill a bunch of cops.
Yeah. We'll turn this one out to the audience. If I'm making the movie, I'm making Dark Chappie. Dark Chappie sounds so
I think I'm leaning that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way too.
Did you have some pitches, Jeremy? I know we've been kind of like toying around with the ideas that we have here. Did you have anything like a concrete written down that you wanted to read out on the podcast, or writing room style? What you want to do?
No, honestly, I came in like already really liking the movie and like wasn't really sure how we were going to approach it, and was hoping we'd kind of dissect it the way we did. So
Perfect.
pretty much kind of all my thought process has been on the table here.
Love that. Yeah. I like we got the ideas. He wants to talk about a lot of stuff here. But we need to land somewhere, right? I think that's the ultimate lesson for Chappie is it needs to land somewhere.
Yeah. It's just too scattered of a movie the way it is. Enjoyable on a base level, but just not enough depth.
A great party movie to throw on to like watch but not listen to. You know,
yeah.
like a vibe setter.
Yeah. You don't have to listen to Ninja and Yolandi jabber back and forth like assholes to each other. That is the most toxic relationship I think I've ever seen.
And it's just
and in
like
real
that
life
IRL
apparently
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Like there's multiple accusations of like child abuse because she has like multiple adopted kids, and I think they have kids together, and she has kids from somebody else.
Oh God, disgusting human beings. Ugh. I think that's good.
Yeah. Dark Chappie, light Chappie, take your pick. It is a cynicism versus optimism kind of day. I like it.
Hashtag Dark Chappie or hashtag Light Chappie.
Right.
Tell us your thoughts.
Maybe there's a pitch of two. What if there was two Chappies? What if this is the story about like twin
Oh, so now it's RoboCop 2.
Yeah. They try copying the copy, and the other copy.
I actually
gets
that
corrupted
thought did
like
kind
that.
of pop in my head earlier when we were talking stuff, and I kind of kept it to myself of like, oh, what if Chappie is kind of the Chappie we know, but they try copying another one, and that one is just like a bad Chappie.
Ooh, what if that's Hugh Jackman's program? Not instead of the moose, he's got the Chappie copy.
Evil Chappie.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go.
That works.
Yeah.
Keep him the villain too. In a way.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, more Sharpie Copley. Like, we're not going to complain, right? He probably played. I don't know. Jesse said no. Did you notice this, Jeremy? The non-Chappie police robots sound a lot like Peter Weller. They sound like they're really going for that RoboCop voice.
In the very beginning, when they're kind of like doing the little opening montage, I did pick up on that a little bit.
Yeah,
I think that might just be a coincidence. I don't think he was involved with that.
The shootout.
I just wonder if that
criminals,
was specifically what they were trying to go for. Like, hey, can you give me your best Peter Weller impression? I did pick up on that in the beginning.
Yeah, I like it. To be clear, I'm not mad at it. I think it's a great choice because it is topically important.
It'd be like kind of just like a fun little nod. Like, look, we know we're kind of doing a RoboCop thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he pulls his influences from other movies and other video games. Like District 9 is pulled out of the Halo movie fiasco, and Elysium is very much influenced by a lot of video games.
Yeah.
And it even inspired a series of video games called The Surge.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah.
I
They're
like
basically
the
just The
first one.
Surge. Yeah, they're all right. You know, he's very inspired by video game stuff.
And I'm cool with that. None of the inspirations hurt me. I just need a little more tonality overall to your plotting, I think, is the ultimate lesson. Well, we're at the 90-minute mark, and that's where we like to cut off Film Rescue.
Yeah, we're there.
We did Chappie. Congrats, guys. We did it. Yay!
The deed is done.
Yay, we did it. Someday I'm sure we'll tackle Elysium or something.
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely.
You guys have fun with that.
Yeah.
You know, someday. I think our next one to fix is Ocean's 12. That one got skipped at some point this season, but we're going on a quick little break through October to rest and rejuvenate. So when Film Rescue comes back, if it's not Ocean's 12, it'll be something along those lines, right?
I think it's supposed to be King of the Monsters. I think I'm supposed to fix that.
Oh, that's right. If it's not Ocean's 12, it's King of the Monsters for sure.
It's an Armored Core movie now.
Spoilers. Oh my God. Well, I feel like those spoilers are presents for anybody that makes it to the end of an episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This is the continuity of the show that only the host can see for recording.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
So Jeremy, do you have anything to plug?
Honestly, the only thing to plug right now is my Instagram, where I'm doing my toy photos, because that's the only thing I've had time for lately.
Have you been throwing those on TikTok too? Have I seen?
Yeah, actually, I started throwing them on TikTok. So it's Toys for Shots, Toys and Shots, both with a Z, because I love to be obnoxious. But yeah, it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok. My podcast, Defending Your Movies, on quite the hiatus right now, just because we're still dealing with 2 kids under 2 right now. We got a 4-month-old and
those
just
awesome
room
life
space for
changes.
recording. Yeah, it's still a lot of adjustment, and trying to find the time, but taking photos is a lot quicker and easier. So
absolutely, no, totally. Well, and eventually you'll come back to it with a totally new lens as a dad with kids. I'm excited to see how your content changes even after that.
Yeah, I watch every movie in a different way now. It's pretty wild.
I bet. Well, thank you so much for jumping on the show with us. I think that's gonna do it for this one. Jesse, thank you for being here as well.
Of course, it's nice to revisit this one.
Yeah, honestly, it was.
And if Blomkamp ever gets to his alien thing, that'll probably end up on one of our podcasts, so you can look out for that potentially in the future.
Yeah.
No interest in Gran Turismo, so that's the closing chapter on Blomkamp for a minute.
Yeah. I will not be watching that movie anytime soon.
I'll watch it because I watch every video game movie, although it's weird to call that a video game movie with what it seems to be. Like that falls into a weird genre with that one.
It's based on an actual scenario where there was a kid that was a massive gamer of Gran Turismo, and he decided to actually become an actual driver.
Yeah.
So he went to Nissan Academy.
Okay.
So yeah, they and
interesting take on making a video game movie. I'll say that.
It's meta.
It's all they could do.
Yeah.
It's all they could do.
Yeah.
There's no story in those games. It's just driving.
Yeah.
So they had to do something.
It's meta, and it succeeds in making a more wide release video game movie. People
commendable
would watch,
for making an attempt.
Yeah, people will watch Gran Turismo on a plane. That'll show up on HBO Max. That'll be somebody's dad will watch that and not know they're watching a video game movie. And I think that's smart of them. His marketing's always been good. He's a marketing genius. From the get, I think he's good at marketing his shit.
A better video game driving movie than that fucking Need for Speed,
right.
Which I've still never seen.
Oh my god!
You don't need to. You really don't.
Boys, we're in the weeds. Let me end this show. Oh my god!
Yeah, no,
all
you're
right, we're
this
done.
is Film Rescue. Thanks for watching. I've been your Pitchmaster General. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.